Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host. I'm here with Logan. So this is Logan's first day of TNT. How's it going so far?
Yeah, going great. First day of work, almost calls 3 wrecks. So that's pretty good.
How many times we've gone, let me see how far we've gone. 67 miles. How many times did I yell at you in 67 miles?
I wouldn't say yelled, but, gently corrected.
Yeah, so
3 times or so, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, so this is the part, I think I probably told you, right? Like, getting your CDL is the easy part, right? It seems daunting. Sometimes people don't trifecta it. That seems like it should be the hard part, but it's not. Now's the hard part, in my opinion, because you have to know a very small amount of stuff, right, to, be successful. So just going back to your CDL, getting your CDL, your PSD, what was, what were your impressions of that? Was it the way you thought it would be?
Like the whole process?
The whole process and then the testing?
It was pretty much what I had expected. Honestly, I think a lot of the preparation we did, we spent, 4 weeks out on the road or so, but a lot of the preparation that we did, the first few days and then the last few days were for the test, but also, a lot of the driving and day-to-day driving and stuff was helpful to prepare. So it just felt like I had a lot of preparation to get there, but and it was a little daunting, especially as we were closing in on the last few days and the last few weeks, and I was still struggling with some of the maneuvers and stuff like that, but
Okay, in full disclosure, I taught you wrong a little bit. So if you're familiar with the new exam, right? You do a forward pull-up stop, then you go through the straight line, right? And then you back all the way through it. Then you pull up forward again and basically I don't even know what that maneuver is called, but it's
called an
forward
offset.
Offset.
I always explain it to people who don't know trucking as the reverse parallel park. So you're pulling out of a parallel parking spot.
Right. Okay, so that's a good way to talk about it. You're pulling out of a parallel parking spot. So what I was having him do, because we had that big area to work with, I was having you, because I'm like, hey, I want to make it as easy as possible. So I was like, look, all you're going to do when you back into that spot is undo what you just did. Basically, pull through, but as you're pulling through, set yourself up so it's easy to back into that parallel parking spot, essentially. But what I didn't realize, because, even though I went over it in my PSD trainer class, and I also had the diagram, I didn't think it was mandatory that you pull up. When you pull out, you have to turn to the right to get the truck parallel with the spot you're going to go in.
Right, yeah.
Because we were watching other people do this, but nobody else had a Peterbilt. They all had Freightliners. And so I was like, oh, well, they're just really cranking it in there. Maybe it's, and there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? I mean, I say right, I don't know any way to skin a cat. Do you know any way to, yeah.
I've never skinned a cat.
But I heard there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, they're doing it their way. That's that instructor. Who am I to say, right? But then, I was in the, what do we call it? The bird's nest or whatever. The conference room in the Plaza building on the 2nd floor there. So I was in the conference room watching what was going on the pad. And then I saw the examiner outside making you go into that. What were you thinking?
So before we did that maneuver, he did tell me when I pulled out, that I needed to be parallel to my original position. So my first thought was like, oh crap, I've been practicing this particular maneuver this particular way, probably dozens of times, and I wasn't really prepared to do that. So when we did the third maneuver, I pulled out, and I pulled as parallel as I felt like I needed to be to pass. And he still was like, no, you're not in the right position. But what he did was, I passed the third part, which was just pulling out.
Right.
But he had to reset me for the fourth part in order for me to be in the right starting point for that. So it wasn't necessary to be parallel to pass the third maneuver, but it was necessary to be there to start the fourth maneuver.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit like, oh shit. But, I just had to rely on my instincts, and, I knew the way that the truck maneuvered, and what ended up happening was, I turned the wheel to get it to start going into the spot. Instead of normally, I was just, I had practiced basically just straight backing into it and then turning it in.
Right.
So I had to start turning it in at an angle. And what I found out when I got the tractor around to see in my mirrors where I was not far enough. So you get 2 pull-ups. So I was like, well, this is the best possible use of a pull-up, is just to simply get myself in the position.
Put yourself back where you were used to backing.
Put myself right in the practiced position. And so I pulled up, and as soon as I pulled up, and I was like, a weight kind of lifted off of me, because I was like, okay, this is what I've been practicing for, the last 3 or 4 days.
So this is kind of funny, because when I was watching you, right, I was watching you, and I was like, oh, he's making him start from a different place. And then I was anxious, and the reason I was anxious is because Logan is the first guy that I've ever gotten to the test, because I had 2 other people that got off the truck before that happened. So this was like new for me even, and I had to ask a lot of questions, because just to make sure I was teaching everything right, and I didn't want to hurt my student. But lo and behold, I still put him in a tough situation. But then when I saw what was happening, and I'm up there, and I'm watching, I'm drinking a Diet Coke, then I'm watching some more, then I'm drinking some Diet Coke, and I just had this feeling. I'm like, you know what? He's gonna be able to handle this like little curveball or big curveball.
Yeah.
And I was like, he'll be okay. I just felt like you would be okay. And so then when I saw you back the truck in, I'm like, okay, he's good, and then of course, you left, because then I'm not,
Yeah.
I should have gotten the keys to your car, so I could have followed you down the road just to make sure. But yeah, he came back, and it's always a good sign when the examiner's still in the passenger seat. That means you passed the road portion. If you see an examiner come back, well, I don't know, because I do know a couple of people that have failed the road portion because they like curbed the truck. I don't know if that's enough. They curbed the trailer. I don't know if that's enough to get you kicked out of the seat.
Yeah. He mentioned that I didn't go over a curb, but I think I took a turn like a little too tight, and it didn't go up on a curb, but it wasn't on the asphalt anymore.
Oh, it was in the gutter, kind of?
Yeah, so I think I got points off for that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, and and like I was telling you, right? It's better to take it wide and not hit the curb, because then you just get some points off. It's not an automatic fail.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if just like maybe running over a curb, they would stop and make you switch seats.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you see the dude with, at least at Prime, if you see the dude with the red jacket driving the truck back into the pad after somebody's been out on their road test, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what happened? So you passed, he says you've passed, right?
Yeah.
And then we had a debrief with him, which I thought was a great idea, by the way, because, I don't know, I have no idea whether when I took my CDL exam, if they debriefed my instructors.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a different scenario, because we were like, these instructors were instructing 3 class weeks at a time, so
Yeah.
maybe they didn't even take the time. But I thought it was good because then it helped me understand what my student had been a week in. And then it also was good for him because it's like, okay, we identified a couple of things that you need to do better.
Yeah.
So I thought that I liked that part of the process. And then, so once he was done with us, right, he gave you some paperwork. What happened after that?
So at that point with Prime, you basically get hired on. So I had to go out. I got my test scores, which they automatically update in the federal database, I guess, too. So that when you go back to your home state, they just take your scores and transfer them, and then they process all your information and they give you your CDL license. But from that point, I basically went out to talk to I can't remember his last name, but Rodney, and he took me through all the W-4 paperwork, the I-9 paperwork, and all that stuff to get hired on. Sent me a nice email about my pay that I was going to be getting, which I've been looking forward to. So yeah, and then Terry bought me a Coke, which was,
I bought him a Coke.
Just a good thing to buy a diabetic. I don't know why he bought me a Coke. I didn't ask for it, so.
Do not be fooled. He is diabetic, at least that's what he claims, but he eats like a freaking 8-year-old, okay? Like, we went shopping at Walmart a little while ago. What did I get? I got some cheese, I got some rye bread to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I got some Diet Coke, and what's he buy? He comes back to the truck with regular Coke and a 6-pack of Krispy Kremes.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you must have a death wish or something.
I just wanted to celebrate us being back on the road together,
How many donuts are left?
There are 4 donuts. I ate 2 donuts.
He ate 2,
donuts.
so that's good.
And I did feel my sugar spike a little while ago.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I was like, when I was sitting in the passenger seat, I felt it spike a little bit. Like I just started feeling a little nervous, and then it crashed. And then I just was sitting there with my eyes closed.
This is a job where you got to be up all hours of the day and night.
Yeah. This is a terrible idea, but I was just craving.
So luckily I didn't make you drive after we stopped at Walmart.
Yeah. Luckily, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Bad decision.
So what are you gonna do with the rest of them?
I'll probably eat them, but not all at once. I mean, I offered you to have some.
Well, yeah, that was kind of.
So you can have as many as you want, also. So between the two of us, we'll eat them. I would hope.
It's probably not going to be between the two of us.
Well, I will eat them in more smaller increments.
So one at a time.
Yeah, maybe
something.
one.
And I'm not saying 2 Krispy Kremes is excessive. I'm sure lots of people eat more than 2 Krispy Kremes. I got to tell you though, I have and this may well be the last time I had a Krispy Kreme. I don't know, but when my son Joe, who drives for Prime, or he leases here at Prime, when he was like, I think it would have been his 8th birthday, somehow we ended up having his birthday party with friends and everything at Krispy Kreme. And, you know, it would have been just better if I had the kids come over to the house and I gave each kid that showed up a 5-pound bag of sugar and a spoon.
Yeah.
Because first we went and did the tour of the kitchen and they got the hot donuts.
Yeah, that's the best. You can't pass up the hot now.
Yeah, so they got the hot donuts. Then they got to make like a giant like birthday pyramid out of these Krispy Kreme donuts, unlimited. How many you needed for your pyramid, and then the kids put chocolate syrup, sprinkles, and whipped cream on this pyramid of Krispy Kremes, and then ate it. And yeah, I don't know if that was child abuse or not.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if that's legal. That's illegal.
Yeah, and I think they gave them also like milk or orange juice or whatever to drink, which
perfect. Yeah,
orange juice is not healthy either.
No,
but yeah. So I just remember leaving there and never ever wanting to even smell a Krispy Kreme again.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that I've had a Krispy Kreme since that day. But I like the fact that you wanted to celebrate.
Sure, yeah.
So, okay, so we're starting TNT. You only have 49,933 miles to go.
All right.
409.33. So, for the rest of this 49,933 miles you got to do, what are you hoping to accomplish? What are you looking forward to?
Besides
that paycheck.
Yeah, the paycheck is probably the big thing. Like finally actually getting paid.
Well, and can I ask a personal question?
Sure.
You're going to be getting at least $900 a week.
Mm-hmm.
How's that compared to the jobs you've had in the past?
So right out of the gate, that is comparable to my last job, like working 40 hours a week. So it's not great. It's in terms of your hourly rate, you're still, depending on how much you drive that week, you're only making about $12 an hour. So it's not great as an hourly rate. However, in terms of it being just a training rate, it's totally fine. And especially like my situation is unique because I wanted to be out on the road. I wanted to be, I wanted to travel, and I look at this as like a paid road trip. Obviously we're not stopping at the Grand Canyon and spending, 2 days walking around and stuff like that. But I like to travel. I like to drive. And for me, finally getting paid and doing something that I'm enjoying, it's okay for me to not be making a crap ton of money right now, in terms of like an hourly rate. But like I said, it's about weekly. It's about what I was making before.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm back in the job force now, like making enough money to I'm making enough money to make ends meet. Plus, I'm not spending as much money at home on entertainment type stuff and like
Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kremes. So I think that was also part of the Krispy Kreme is like, I'm probably not going to get a lot of Krispy Kremes out on the road. Even though I guess do they have them at Love's? Do they have Krispy Kremes? I don't think so. But
I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows. I don't think so. No.
I don't think so either. They probably have donuts, but they're not Krispy Kremes. And even so, like, I've been pretty decent about not perusing the like snacks at the gas station and getting a lot of bad snacks. What happens to me is I'll get on I really want a hamburger, and like every few days or like once a week it'll be like I just gotta get a big nasty hamburger from Hardee's or something like that.
Right.
But generally I've and I told Terry this too, I'm looking to get into my routine early of healthy eating. So I've got like my bag of deli chicken, my bag of deli turkey, my cheese, I've got peanuts for snacks, I've got cashews for snacks, I got some fruit for snacks and some yogurt. So, I want to really try to avoid gaining weight. If I can maintain weight, then I'll be happy, but I really would like to lose weight. The only thing with that is I'm not a big exerciser type person. So,
yeah, so I will tell, and a lot of people probably know this, but it's hard. Part of the difficulty with maintaining a healthy weight or maintaining your weight generally is that you have a really jacked up sleep schedule.
Yeah.
And though, people that have jacked up sleep schedules typically have, it's an unhealthy lifestyle. So what I feel like you have to do is, given, the sedentary nature, you're always sitting, and the fact that you have a messed up sleep schedule, you have to overcompensate by, really paying attention to what you eat and getting exercise when and where you can. Like, I never thought that I would be like, I used to run when I was younger, and I certainly like to cycle, but I can't have my bike on the truck with you on the truck, because some guys put their bike on the front or in the back. I don't do that because I have a carbon fiber frame bike. I have an old metal frame too, but that one actually got messed up being on my truck in the back. But yeah, I think you got to take opportunities to exercise whenever you can, and even if it's just like, stepping up on the curb while you're fueling. If you do that 50 times while you're pumping fuel, that's more exercise than you might have gotten than you would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
And I will tell you also that now that the weather's getting better, there's a little more opportunity,
Going for a walk.
Going for a walk I like to get the spare out from under the trailer and just lay on the ground and bench press it and stuff, because it's good weight to push up and down.
Yeah.
So
I'll make sure to video that so that,
Oh, I got exercise videos.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't want your viewers to think that you're just bullshitting.
No, I would not bullshit about that. My viewers know that I'm not a bullshitter.
Okay.
All right, so any other final thoughts?
No, I guess I just didn't really answer your last question too much about what I'm looking forward to. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would probably say, I still have a lot to learn, and it's still a lot to practice. And, today being my first day back on the truck, I got to get back into the groove of my habits that I was forming while we were in PSD, reading my signs and looking far enough ahead and stuff like that. It's a different way of driving that if you're not doing consistently, then you will get out of the habit of it. So I think, looking forward to that. Looking forward to just, 49,000 more miles, 49 whatever is a lot of miles. But, I think the reward is going to be worth it. Like I said in the last interview you did, I wanted to train longer because I had less experience in transportation. So it's something that I actually wanted, is to do more training and do more driving with somebody, so that, I have somebody right beside me. I can ask a bunch of questions if I need to. I can get help if I'm in a hairy situation. And then, hopefully be as prepared as I can be when I go out on my own.
Right. And, to that end, I'm going to push my fleet manager to run us hard. So we got a pre-plan, and it's definitely a team load because I couldn't do it by myself in the time allotted. So we're just a couple miles from our 90, and we're just killing some time because the notes said we couldn't be there any earlier than it's a 21:55 appointment at Aldi in Salisbury, Maryland. So 20:55.
North Carolina. You said Maryland.
Oh yeah, yeah, North Carolina.
Hopefully we're not going to Maryland today.
It's kind of funny because when I was talking to the person when I was picking this load up, I almost said Maryland too. I'm just used to saying Salisbury, Maryland. But anyway, So we got to pick that up, and then we got another, and then our next load picks up early in the morning in Lumber Bridge, North Carolina, which is over towards Fayetteville, basically. That's going out to Missouri, but it's got to be out there. Let me see. Today's the 11th, so it's got to be out there on like some late on the 13th.
Okay.
So that's about 1,000 miles. So we're gonna rack up some miles pretty quickly, and hopefully we can run, and we'll take a break in about a month. Because I need to do some home time. You're going to do some home time. And all right, so far so good.
Yep.
You're an employee of Prime Inc. All right.
Officially employed. Gainfully employed.
Gainfully employed.
Yep.
Did you tell the state you're gainfully employed?
Yes, I did. I did tell the state. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any final thoughts? I mean, not that we probably won't be talking again, but
Yeah. No. I think I've spewed my mind already.
all right. Well, hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be safe out there. By the way, I'll do a video on this because I think a lot about weather, generally speaking, and I think there's going to be some winter weather coming across the plains here, but also we are starting to get into tornado season. Now, it's always tornado season down south, Alabama, Mississippi. It's always tornado season down there, but the plains, so Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, we're as we get closer to June, every day that passes, we're a little more in that window. So, we'll be watching the weather and pay attention to that stuff, the long-range forecast if you're going east and west, which is what I want to do because that's how you rack up the miles. So anyway, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.